Today's topic is neurohacking the hologram. Welcome to the Hologram Podcast, everybody. This is sponsored and brought to you by Quantum Neurology Rehabilitation. Every major science publication and cutting-edge physicist is describing our universe as a hologram. I'm suggesting that we recognize and describe our human body as holograms too. I discuss this in more detail in my book, Holographic Healing, available on Amazon. This podcast introduces life, health, and healing concepts based on the holographic principles and how to incorporate these principles into a holographic lifestyle. The hologram means that everything is connected. We are holograms. We know this to be true because the smallest unit of the body is a cell, and each cell contains all the information of the nervous system. And it's been demonstrated with cloning technology that transferring the contents of one cell and placing it in another cell could create a duplicate nervous system. Another aspect of the hologram is that the communication is constant and instantaneous to, from, and between each layer of our nervous system, from cells, muscles, tissues, organs, and bones. On our podcast, we introduce the holographic lifestyle. We examine the concepts of mind, fitness, health through the filters of the nervous systems, through its healing and development. The intention of the podcast is to introduce interesting and novel concepts, cutting-edge scientists, doctors, and thought leaders to contribute to your holographic lifestyle. I'm your host, Dr. George Gonzalez. I'm the founder of Quantum Neurology. I'm the creator of the holographic number theory, the author of the Holographic Healing series, and the creator and host of the Hologram Podcast. This show is for education and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to examine, treat, diagnose, cure any injury, illness, infection, or condition. It is to present concepts and possibilities that the listener or viewer can investigate further. Concepts presented by doctors and experts are their personal opinions and are not promises or guarantees of outcome. Each person's results may vary. Please take your health into your own hands, do your own research, and ask the advice of an expert when dealing with your own personal health or life issues. Welcome to the Hologram Podcast, everybody. Today we're talking about the hologram itself, neurohacking the hologram. By neurohacking the hologram, we have to really understand what is a hologram. What is this universe that we live in, and why are people describing it and its contents as holograms, including us humans and all animals? The clear evidence of the hologram, in my opinion, is the bow in the sky, the rainbow. The colors, what colors do we see in the rainbow? We can visually see red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. I like to say that a rainbow is a holographic projection of light through water. Life is a holographic projection of light through our nervous system. My body is mostly made of water, which projects light, which occurs in the visual spectrum. Our eyes only register light in the visual spectrum, which is the red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, and violet. These facts are not coincidence. It's all evidence that we ourselves and the universe that can and is being described as a hologram. I'm suggesting that we recognize that our body and its experience within the universe, including our spiritual connection, can be described as holographic or a hologram. Let's talk about some hologram characteristics. So most people think of holograms as two-dimensional ideas. You know, they see an image that's holographic, and whether it moves when you tilt it in different directions, or it's truly holographic, like some technology out there that has amazing images that it looks like they're reaching out at you, depending on how they're displayed. And those are amazing to look at, and it's amazing, if you've ever seen those types of images. But something that people may not know about those images, the true holographic images, that are two-dimensional. So that means just like a photograph is two-dimensional. Let me grab a photograph here, my wife, Lori. It's two-dimensional. It means that it's only on a flat surface. Two-dimensional means that it has a length and a height or a width, just one or the other, length and width, no height. This is a piece of paper, it has a small height, but we're not concerned with that at the moment. Two-dimensional pretty much means a flat surface. So when we're talking about a two-dimensional hologram, first a photograph, if I were to tear this photo in half, I would have two halves of this photo. Not so if it was a hologram. If I would tear a hologram in half, I would have two identical images of the original image of the hologram. And if I were to tear those pieces in more pieces, I would have a bunch of fragments of the entire photograph. Because every piece of the hologram is contained, all the information of a hologram is contained in every piece. And that's an important concept when we're talking about the holographic communication. So in three-dimensional holograms, so something that has a length, a width, and a height, okay, that's three-dimensional. And what we are living in our human experience is a three-dimensional holographic experience. We are ground-based beings that walk through a 3D environment. We interact with other 3D objects and other 3D beings. So let's describe this reality experience that we have. First of all, we have to understand that what we experience, we could describe as a reality experience. So let's describe our holographic selves and how we interact with the universe through this reality experience that we have. So we begin with talking about our five senses. Our five senses is the method of communication we have. We have our seeing, our smell, our taste, our hearing, and our touch. Our touch is further broken down into pain, temperature, hot and cold, vibration, light touch, deep touch, pressure, proprioception, and form recognition. These are the different information concepts that come into our body. So to really understand that concept, we need to describe the environments in which we occur. So the first way our nervous system, or first way our body is in its environment is a physical environment. So my body has this physical space, it's occupying this physical space. And that we call the internal physical environment. The internal physical environment. And that is the environment that we're very familiar with. It's our muscles, the blood, the hormones, the organs, all the things that are inside of this physical instrument of ours that we call a nervous system. So when we describe ourselves as nervous systems, we recognize this internal physical self pretty well. What we have between us is a shared space. The space around our bodies, the space between my body and your body, is this shared space. This shared space is where we communicate through our five senses: our seeing, our hearing, our smell, our taste, and we receive information through our sense of touch. Those 9 layers I spoke of: the pain, temperature, vibration, light touch, deep touch, pressure, proprioception, and form recognition. So these are the concepts of how our body receives information. And that is considered our sensory receiving information. Sensory is considered to be 80% of the nervous system. It's hard to say in the holographic model what percentage, but it's a large part of the nervous system is sensory. And our body uses this sensory information to be able to make decisions and movement and concepts and every moment in time, and all the different layers of the nervous system, from its cells, its muscles, its tissues, its organs and bones, in its movement, its position, its processing, its ability to carry blood and nutrients everywhere, hormone release. All those things are being coordinated within our magnificent nervous system. It's truly fascinating when we start looking at what we are. And we're really sold short, I feel, on what this instrument is capable of. And part of that is just we don't know. This is such an amazing instrument and what it can do and what aspects we have available to it. So that's the internal physical environment. We describe the external physical environment that we share. Now I'm going to describe the non-physical holographic environment of the nervous system. So the non-physical holographic environment it's the non-physical part of ourselves that make us who we are. Our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, our capacity for connection with others, our spiritual connection. All these things are non-physical. You can't, break them or take them off of the body and hand them to somebody else. So where are they in the body? They cannot localize a piece in the brain where your high school memories are, or where you have the recollection of where you left something. They may be able to put you under an fMRI, a functional MRI, and observe which parts of your brain are being stimulated when prompted. But they do not have the ability to localize the exact place that information is. And in actuality, I feel that information occurs throughout the body, throughout the nervous system. And evidence of this is done with lie detectors. How does a lie detector measure the body? Well, they have electrodes on the head measuring different responses. They have a heart monitor measuring pulse rate and heartbeats per minute and the reaction of the heart. They have a blood pressure monitoring. They have galvanic response, skin response, and they have all these different things on the body. Why do they have to measure all these things all over the body? It's because emotion or thoughts do not occur in one spot in the body. They occur throughout the nervous system. And these are powerful concepts when we start understanding where our nervous system is communicating with itself, and how powerful being able to engage the entirety of the nervous system for its communication, for its function, for its ability to do things. So again, we go through this concept of the three environments. We have the internal physical environment. We have the external shared environment. We have the non-physical holographic environment. The non-physical holographic environment includes our spiritual connection. It includes our ability to have thoughts and emotions and the different capabilities of connecting with one another and all that interaction. It's all holographic in description. How do these things occur? How is that non-physical self pegged to our nervous system? Why is it when I walk around the house, or I cross the street, or I go to the next state, I fly around the world, how is it that it follows me? I feel that it follows you through the light body. The light body, these are some concepts I describe in my book, Holographic Healing, available on Amazon. But the light body is the projection of light from each individual cell. So there's a scientist named Fritz Albert Popp who discovered that cells release intelligent light off of each individual cell. And this light is intelligent for communicating throughout the body with the speed of light. So it's powerful in concept when you think of one cell, but when in reality we have trillions and trillions of cells in our body, all of which are projecting intelligent light. It's my opinion that this light field is what contains our non-physical self. It is this light field that contains the essence of who we are. Our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, our capacity for connecting with one another. It occurs through this light field. And it's our ability to project light that generates vibrancy and life and healing throughout our body. These are powerful ideas that once you start thinking about them, in my opinion, they start making a lot of sense. So they make sense to the doctors that I train, because these principles of how the nervous system communicates within itself and how we interact really give a higher sense of understanding to the nervous system. And it allows us to make associations that were there before, but we didn't really have a way to lock them in. And now we do. So again, we talked about the five senses. We talked about the internal physical, the external physical, and the holographic non-physical self. Now these concepts are amazing when we look at them. And we understand that within this physical frame, we have a nervous system, or our entirety is considered the nervous system. And the nervous system, in my opinion, is not limited to the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. In my opinion, it includes the end target tissue, the muscles, the tissues, the organs, and the bones, the cells. Every single part of us I consider to be the nervous system. The nervous system is described as the master system. It controls and coordinates all the other systems of the nervous system. So let's break this down a little bit. Let's break down what the nervous system, at least how we could physically see it, is broken down. The way we see the nervous system is we have our brain, and our brain includes our eyes, the nerves that come off the sense of smell. It includes the cranial nerves that come off the brain and create our five senses. And it also includes a tail. The brain has a tail. The tail is called our spinal cord. The spinal cord is broken off into 33 segments. And those segments have nerve branches. And the nerve branches connect to muscle, tissue, organ, and bone. This is a real important concept, so let's walk through this. We have our brain. We have the things that come off the brain, our eyes, our sense of smell, all the cranial nerves that create our five senses. We have the tail of the brain, which is called our spinal cord, with the nerve branches that come off that go to muscle, tissue, organ, and bone. So this is the layout of the nervous system. And we can break down each individual nerve and tell you which nerve level goes to which muscles, which nerve level goes to which area of tissue, which organs are associated to those nerve layers, and which bones are associated with those nerve layers. These are real important concepts when we're talking about rehabilitation. Because if we understand the layout, or what I call the terrain of the nervous system, we're able to use the body's natural actions and reactions to achieve desired results. And so these concepts are described in other videos I have with other conversations, such as the video with Dr. Ed Chauvin talking about neurohacking paralysis, and with Dr. James Sheen in neurohacking numbness and tingling, and Dr. Katinka Vandermeer in neurohacking chronic pain, and we're going to have several more. So understanding the layout of the nervous system is crucial. So when we're looking at the nervous system, as a doctor, I'm evaluating something. So how do we evaluate the nervous system? We look at it externally. So remember our shared environment. So I'm using this shared environment. How do I peek into your nervous system to understand how it's doing? Well, we have specific windows into the nervous system. These windows, just like walking up to a house and looking in the window and seeing what's inside, what we're doing is we're evaluating the motor portion of the nervous system. The motor is the muscle-skeletal movement of the nervous system. And we're able to identify the specific nerve level that's damaged by the loss of specific muscles in the body. Now, many of these things were discovered when people had spinal cord injuries and they lose function below a specific level. And they've mapped out and they know exactly what nerves associate which muscles because of what they found depending on where somebody was damaged. So using those concepts to identify the motor portions of the nervous system and where there's weakness in the body. Now we have shared nerve supply throughout the body. Remember, every nerve goes to muscle, tissue, organ, bone. So if we're testing the muscle on the nerve supply, it's very possible that the other areas of shared nerve supply are damaged or inhibited. Inhibited means the volume is turned down, for example, or the dimmer light switch has been lowered, dimming the signal or dampening the signal. So these are the concepts of how the communication is occurring through that concept. So I got a little lost here for a second. It is live. And the windows into the nervous system. So when we're looking into the nervous system, that's the motor concept that I was describing. We also have the sensation or the sensory concept. The sensory concept is the five senses that we described, the pain, temperature, vibration, the five senses: seeing, hearing, smelling, taste, touch. Touch is the pain, which is the pinch and harder pain, of course. Temperature is hot, cold, vibration, light touch, deep touch, pressure, which is circumferential pressure, proprioception, which is our body's limitation of movements by boundaries. And then we have our form recognition, which is considered in many circles 2-point discrimination. So these are the windows into the nervous system. So we have very specific things that we could test when we evaluate people. We could evaluate their muscular strength by the nerve level to tell us exactly what nerve is affected. When we understand what nerve is affected, we understand that the shared nerve supply, the shared tissue, organ, and bone that's shared with that muscle that may be compromised may also be compromised. And we have strategies of rehabilitation based on these branches of the nervous system. Now, another thing I wanted to bring light to is this concept of the homunculus. The concept of the homunculus also demonstrates why our body is a hologram. The homunculus is something you've probably seen already. You could type that into Google and see the funny images on it. But there's a sensory homunculus, for example, on the top of the head where the sensation of the body is. And they map it out and they show the image of the homunculus man. And the homunculus man is based on how large the sensation areas are according to the parts of our body. So, our 2-point discrimination on our body is very light on certain parts of our body, our torso, our arms, but on our fingertips and our hands, it's very large. So the image is of large lips, large eyes, large ears, very sensitive areas of our body, and then a smaller torso, smaller legs, large privates, and large hands and feet. And this is a description of how our sensation is being processed in the sensory centers of the brain. We also have the homunculus on the hands and the bottoms of the feet. The hands and the bottom of the feet can be associated with different organs depending on where you're pressing, different things of that nature. So like for pressure point therapy or people who are doing reflexology type concepts, they talk about the different organs and associations in every part of the hands or the feet. We also have the meridians of the body that mostly is associated with acupuncture, Chinese Oriental medicine. So these are the energy channels of flow of energy throughout the body. It's also demonstrating a holographic nature of our body. On our ears, we have a homunculus, and if you've ever seen that, it looks like an upside down infant, where the earlobe is the head of the infant, and I'll do this here so you can hear better. The earlobe is the head of the infant, and the spine, and then the feet come, and the hands are inside. And I don't know the details of it, but you can see that. The tongue has a homunculus, not only for sensation, but for associations with parts of the body. And people do tongue diagnosis in Oriental medicine, where they tell you the different parts of your body that may be dehydrated or having problems, depending on which part of the tongue is demonstrating that. The teeth are a homunculus, where each tooth can be associated with a different organ in the body. And that demonstrates through people with certain dental procedures developing illnesses in the specific organs associated with that tooth. We have homunculus in different parts of our body, in our eyes, for example. So people who study iridology, the study of the iris, make associations with part of the iris and different discolorations or deformities associated with injuries or dysfunctions of the body. So all these concepts are demonstrating the holographic nature of the nervous system. And this is a large conversation. You know, I'm sure I'm going to do more conversations on this, because each one of the things I'm talking about could be its own podcast and its own subject matter. It's all very interesting and exciting, but these are all demonstrations of how our nervous system is a hologram and how we perceive information through this system. So I try to lay out the information for you. If there's any aspect that you'd want me to look at these, that you'd want me to focus on further, or go deeper in and describe any of these concepts, please email us at info@quantumneurology.com, and I'd be happy to discuss this with in more detail and in later videos. But now it's time to talk about our sponsorship. This podcast is sponsored by Quantum Neurology. You could read more about the holographic nature and holographic healing, available on Amazon. We also have a free book on lymphatics. Check our free link in the description. And Quantum Neurology is nervous system rehabilitation. And at quantumneurology.com, you can find the nearest quantum neurology practitioner. For doctors training, we have DVD, live, and online training available, where doctors get started with Quantum Neurology Essentials Package, where it teaches you everything you need to know to learn the step-by-step rehabilitation strategies. And you can also get certified in quantum neurology. Doctors can learn strategies from restoring muscle strength, structural corrections, sensory cranial nerve integration, and much, much more. For upcoming events, visit quantumneurology.com for our 2017 schedule. I also have, for the public, we have our QN Home Care series. Our first of the series is How I Healed My Back in 2 Weeks. If you like what we're talking about and want to learn more and have more instruction on the topics discussed, please email us at info@quantumneurology.com. And be sure to visit our Facebook page at Quantum Neurology Rehabilitation, and our YouTube page. Please like and subscribe and ring the bell for more updates. Thank you so much for being our guest today. I really appreciate you all. And as always, I leave you with the quote, a rainbow is a holographic projection of light through water. Life is a holographic projection of light through our nervous system. This is, I feel, one of the strongest evidence that our universe is a hologram. How the rain cuts the atmosphere like a sheet and projects its rainbow through the light that goes through it. And this demonstrates the holographic nature of the environment we live in. And because we're made of water, and that's what cuts through the sheet of the atmosphere, we project light too. And that is where our life is generated. Thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you again. And visit us at quantumneurology.com.